Rightio guys, welcome back to the channel. So it's been a while since I posted a video, but in that time I've found myself a new project after we've finished the RMZ 450. So sitting in front of me here we have a Yamaha J38 single cylinder 4-stroke 285cc golf cart engine. Now obviously this is coming out of a golf cart and that is my mother's project. I have landed the job of getting the motor going, and unfortunately for me, if I spin it around for you, she is locked up solid. And the reason for that being that. So there was, I don't know whether it's been drained or not, or whether that is definitely the case. I'm guessing it's definitely the case, but this has most likely been starved of oil in the past. So it does, well, from what I can tell, I can actually still move the crank a little bit. I'm not sure whether that's slop in this pulley though. I want to check that. So I want to pull this cover on this side off and actually get a bar on it and check. If it was actually just the pistons and rings and the crank is not frozen in the bearings or whatnot, we might be able to save it. Otherwise it might be getting a motor swap. So what we'll do is we'll pull this little side cover off here, and then hopefully, I can see a nut in there, hopefully we can put a little bar on it and try and bar it over, at least see if it will unlock and turn, or if the crank is definitely not seized. I'm hoping the crank isn't seized, because we've been a bit of a world of hurt there. They are quite hard to get parts for, from what I can gather. But yeah, I guess we just have to find out. So, just try and get it off. There we go. Alrighty. Okay, cover's off. Now I have access to our crank. And yeah, from what I can tell, we definitely have a little bit of movement there. So I'm guessing that the rings are just seized in the bore. I'll get a bar and see if I can actually really turn it over with a bit of force. Other than that, we might be just tearing into it and pulling the bore down and all that. There we go, that's a 7/8 and that will fit. Okay, we'll get a bar, get an extension, and we'll see if we can bar it over any more than what it has. Nope, not that way anyway. Take the extension off, a little bit of properly locked. So, oh, well, at least I can get movement out of that crank though. That's the thing that I'm pleased about, because a new crank and bearings are probably not going to be exactly cheap. Nonetheless, what we'll do is we will take all this plastic junk off. I might take this generator off too. Generator housing and all that. That crap over here. We've got access to the generator bolts, and I'll just pull that out because it's currently in the way at the moment. And yeah, we will get stuck into pulling this motor apart. Alrighty, so we've got all the plastics off, as you can see, and because I've got them all off now, I've just given it all a good pressure wash. I did put rags in all these bores, but I think a bit of water still escaped through into there. But yeah, a little water is not going to make this any more seized than it already is. But yeah, what will make it seize, however, is this. I found this when I was pulling it off, so I did not crack this when I was pulling it off, I shit you not. But yeah, this intake piece which holds your carburetor onto the head was cracked. And you can see that someone in the past has tried to repair it, but obviously they have not done a very good job, because personally I would have just replaced that, but also they haven't actually gotten around to the root of the crack, which is all the way around here. So yeah, that being said, that there obviously being the part before the head but after the carb, having that little crack would allow unmetered air to enter this carb. So with our carb, obviously you've got a preset ratio of fuel mixed to the preset ratio of air coming through your air filter. So therefore we're getting more air than we need and not as much fuel. So the engine is running lean. And obviously with lean, not enough fuel. Fuel obviously cools everything down. So with more air, you're not getting as much cooling. So the engine's getting hotter and hotter with that crack as it goes on. Now, as it gets hot, obviously things expand. So I'm guessing that possibly if the oil starvation is not the issue, then quite possibly the engine has overheated and then hot seized in place. Because the previous owner told us that when he was driving it, or the kids were driving it, it just was going and then it stopped. So yeah, could be something to do like with that Ford motor where it oil starved, or it could have hot seized because of a lean condition, as I just explained. I don't know. All we have to do now is tear the head off, and we will find all the bad news we need under that head. Alrighty, we've got the head fully knocked off of it now, as you can see. Overall, bore looks pretty great. There's nothing really left of a crosshatch on it though, so she's pretty worn out. But yeah, otherwise, the piston is not stuck. I can actually move that around. I'm sort of wondering now whether the what do you call it, the rod bearings are actually seized to the crank. So what I'm going to do now is whip off this, I don't know what it is, it's like a drive clutch, speed clutch thingamajigger. I have no idea what it is. I don't deal with gold carts that much, as you would probably be able to tell. So I have no clue what the hell this does. Well, I know what it does, but I don't know how it works. Right now we're about to find that out, that's for sure. So let's pull this centrifugal clutch thingamajigger doodad off, whatever it is. I don't bloody know. Yeah, I think it's just a 8mm socket, is it? No, 10mm. The old infamous 10mm. Oh, we can use a ratchet for this then. Or maybe just the spanner, because the socket won't fit. Alright, well, looks like we're doing it the hard way. Right, so as you can see, we've got the cases all off, and here's our bottom end. I definitely had oil. A lot of it leaked out on the floor if you didn't see, which was not my brightest moment, but yeah, anyway, it did have oil in it, at least a little bit. not hardly enough to feed what it needed to, but yeah, still something. Anywho, what we're going to do now is I'm going to take the cap off of our conrod, and I'm going to see if I can push this piston up, because I don't actually think it's the piston that's seized. I think it's the rod bearings that are stuck on the crankshaft, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's just the way it goes. So hopefully the crank is not knackered, although it is loose. Not now, it isn't. Okay. Anywho, it was loose. It's not now, but yeah, I'm just hoping that it's the rod bearings are in need of replacement, possibly, or something around those lines. I'm hoping that it's not the crank's been buggered from the loss of oil, but we find what we find, and yeah, we'll get into it now. And have a so our roll bolts are now loose. We've got our cap here. Well, the shell didn't come with it, so that's that's a bad start. Let's see if I can push this rod up. Oh no, that's stuck too. Well, the bearing is stuck on the crank, which is not a good start. Not a good start at all. I'll flip it back over and I'll see if I can turn this motor. I'll just leave that like that so we don't, in case it's not marked, we know which way it came off. Oh, Christ. Still no turny with the cranky. Oh, Christ. Oh no, there we go. Okay, so whatever, oh, there we go. So we've got a piston, I just push, so the crank is going around now, and I've just pushed the piston down. I don't know if you saw that. I'm getting somewhere. Ooh. So look, see what happens. I'll be able to push this piston up now. Well, our bearings are stuck to the crank, which is not exactly what I would have liked, that's for sure. At least I can erect this piston now, which is great. So I'll push that up. Oh, there we go. That's our, that would be our piston. And unfortunately, the bearing on that either, which is great, to say the least. So, here's our crank with, oh no. Well, I see bearing material, so I'm wondering if it may have spun it. Oh, okay. No, there's some, come on, focus, you bastard. There's some bearing material. There's a chunk of something not nice. That's actually a hard chunk. Things are not looking good. And yeah, there's our bearings, which are, you wouldn't believe it, still stuck to the crank. So I'm going to have to work out how to pry them off, but I've just seen, have a look at that. I'm thinking this might need a new crank. That's just buggered. There's no way any oil would have gone through that. That's all, you call it the flakes. And it's aluminium. I think I've seen more. Yep, there's more. It's more where that came from. Jesus. So, yeah. Well, what I'm going to try and do now, I guess, is knock those bearings out and see what our crank looks like. Because it's not looking the greatest, is it? Oh, at least the piston and rings are alright by the looks. Oh, I'll have to have a look at the piston proper good, but nonetheless, it doesn't look exactly toasted. So at least our top end's doing okay. but our bottom end, on the other hand, is not so much. So yeah, oh well, I guess we just have to try and knock those bearings out and see what happens. So we've now got the motor completely torn down. I've just put everything back together for the moment until we get parts, so everything's somewhat sealed. Here's our crank, however, and the bearings. I should probably show you them. So yeah, they're not the best looking bearings in the world, are they? Sort of exactly the same as what that Ford motor had happened to it. Just locked up on the crank. Yeah, not good. So what I'll do, I think we'll finish the video off there because I can't really do anything without parts. What I'll do, I'll take the crank into the engine builder I usually go to, see what he reckons. I think he will probably acid bath it first, bath all that aluminium off of it, see whether the crank underneath is rooted and or whether it's worth linishing. If it's worth linishing, I'll get him to linish it. If not, and he has to grind it, we may as well just buy a new crank, because I don't think they make oversized bearings, if I'm completely honest with yous. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But anyway, that'll be the end of the golf cart engine series for now. Anyway, if you stayed for this, or till this moment I should say, thanks for watching, and if you don't mind, could you please consider liking and subscribing. Anyway, thanks again, and I will see you in the next one.